The antique shop on Chestnut Lane was a labyrinth of forgotten treasures. Dust motes danced in the weak slivers of sunlight that pierced the grimy windows, illuminating chipped porcelain dolls and tarnished silver candelabras. I, Amelia Moore, a history buff with a penchant for the peculiar, felt a familiar thrill course through me as I weaved between the towering shelves. My fingers brushed against a cold, smooth surface, a jade pendant nestled amongst a collection of tarnished brooches. Its intricate design of a twirling serpent captivated me. As I lifted it, a shiver ran down my spine, not from the cool jade, but from an inexplicable sense of unease. A faint whisper seemed to brush past my ear, a sound like withered leaves skittering across pavement. "Mine," it rasped, barely audible. I dismissed it as a trick of the wind or my overactive imagination. Yet, a strange pull lingered, urging me to purchase the pendant. Its price tag was surprisingly low, a mere pittance compared to the other trinkets surrounding it. I felt a strange compulsion to take it, an inexplicable urge that gnawed at my usual cautious nature. The elderly shopkeeper, Mr. Crowley, with his rheumy eyes and crooked smile, watched me with an unsettling intensity. "A fine choice, Miss Moore," he rasped, his voice raspy as sandpaper. "An exquisite piece with a rich history." I choked back another shiver. "Thank you," I mumbled, clutching the pendant tightly in my hand. That night, a suffocating pressure settled on my chest as I slept. The jade pendant felt heavy and cold against my skin, even through the thin fabric of my nightgown. The whispers that had seemed faint in the store now echoed in my mind, louder and more insistent. "Mine, mine." I jolted awake, my heart hammering against my ribs. The room was plunged into darkness, the only light filtering from the sliver of moon peeking through the window. Terror prickled my skin as the whispers grew into a cacophony, a chorus of disembodied voices that spoke in a language I didn't understand. Paralyzed by fear, I lay there until the first rays of dawn painted the sky a pale orange. Exhausted and shaken, I tried to rationalize the experience. Perhaps it was just a bad dream, a figment of my overactive imagination fueled by the eerie atmosphere of the antique shop. The next few days were a blur. The whispers never entirely left, a constant, insidious presence that gnawed at my sanity. I found myself becoming withdrawn, neglecting my work and social life. The jade pendant felt heavier now, an oppressive weight around my neck. Yet I couldn't bring myself to remove it. One morning, as I sipped on my lukewarm coffee, I caught a glimpse of myself in the mirror. My reflection startled me. My eyes were bloodshot, my usual vibrant glow replaced by an unsettling hollowness. The whispers seemed to emanate from within the reflection itself, a chilling confirmation of my growing suspicion. Desperation clawed at me. I had to get help. I reached out to my best friend, Sarah, a no-nonsense doctor with a healthy dose of skepticism when it came to anything paranormal. Explaining my experience over the phone was agonizing, my voice trembling with fear. To my surprise, Sarah didn't dismiss me. She listened patiently, a furrow etching itself between her brows. "It sounds like you might be experiencing something called sleep paralysis," she explained cautiously. "It can cause hallucinations and a feeling of being unable to move." While a sliver of hope flickered within me, the whispers continued, relentless and mocking. I knew Sarah's explanation didn't quite fit the chilling reality I was facing. "I'm coming over," Sarah declared, her voice firm. As I hung up the phone, the whispers intensified, a chilling malevolence seeping into every word. "She can't help you," they hissed. "I am yours now." Sarah arrived at my door within the hour, her face etched with concern. The moment she entered the apartment, the temperature seemed to drop. A low growl, barely audible but undeniably present, rumbled through the air. Sarah froze, her eyes darting around the room. "Amelia," she whispered, her voice tight. "There's something wrong here." Tears welled up in my eyes. Relief and terror warred within me. Relief at having someone believe me. Terror at the confirmation of my worst fears. I recounted the whispers, the dreams, the chilling sense of being watched. As I spoke, the whispers grew louder, forming distinct words in my head. "Leave us. You cannot help her." Sarah reached out, her hand hovering over the jade pendant. The moment her fingers brushed its cool surface, a jolt of energy surged through her. She recoiled with a gasp, her eyes wide with shock. "This," she stammered. "It's feeding something." Suddenly, a wave of dizziness washed over me. My vision blurred, the room tilting at a precarious angle. A cold, slithering sensation wormed its way up my spine, a feeling of violation. My voice, when I spoke, sounded raspy and alien. "You cannot take her." Sarah, unfazed by my distorted voice, grabbed a hold of my shoulders, her gaze unwavering. "Amelia, fight it. Don't let it control you." But the struggle was a losing battle. The entity gripping me felt ancient, powerful. It pushed its words through my lips, pronouncements laced with malice. "This vessel is mine. It hungers for power." Sarah, quick thinking, grabbed a worn leather-bound book from my bookshelf. It was a collection of my grandmother's folklore notes, filled with obscure rituals and forgotten legends. Flipping through the pages with frantic urgency, she muttered a whispered incantation. A wave of golden light erupted from the book, pushing back the darkness that clung to me. The whispers shrieked, a sound of pure agony. I felt myself weakening, the entity's grip loosening its hold ever so slightly. Taking advantage of the momentary reprieve, Sarah ripped the jade pendant from my neck. The moment it left my skin, I felt a surge of strength. The darkness retreated, the whispers fading into a faint echo. Collapsing onto the floor, I gasped for breath, my body racked with exhaustion. Sarah knelt beside me, her face a mask of relief. "You did it, Amelia. You fought it back." But the victory felt hollow. I knew the entity wasn't vanquished, merely suppressed. The jade pendant lay on the floor, radiating a faint, malevolent chill. Looking at it, I knew our fight had just begun. Days blurred into weeks as I recovered from the ordeal. The whispers had quieted, replaced by an unsettling silence that gnawed at my nerves. Sarah, a constant source of support, researched everything she could find on possession and ancient artifacts. Our best lead came from my grandmother's folklore notes, a cryptic passage referencing a hidden chamber within the city archives, said to hold artifacts of immense power, some tainted with darkness. Armed with this sliver of hope, Sarah and I embarked on a desperate quest. The archives, a labyrinthine maze of dusty shelves and towering stacks of paper, felt heavy with an oppressive silence. We followed the cryptic clues, deciphering faded maps and navigating through forgotten corridors. Finally, after hours of searching, we stumbled upon a hidden doorway, concealed behind a massive tapestry depicting a monstrous serpent coiling around a screaming figure. A wave of icy air blasted through the doorway as we pushed it open, revealing a dimly lit chamber. Ancient artifacts, some radiating an unsettling aura, filled the room. In the center, on a pedestal of obsidian, rested a jade figurine, an exact replica of the pendant. As I drew closer, a chilling sensation snaked down my spine. The whispers, faint but undeniable, returned. "Welcome back," they hissed, laced with a chilling familiarity. Suddenly the figurine pulsed with a sickly green light, and the room echoed with a disembodied shriek. A wave of nausea washed over me and my vision blurred. Sarah grabbed my arm, her voice tight with fear. "Amelia, don't let it control you again." But the entity was strong, feeding off my fear and vulnerability. It twisted my thoughts, weaving a tapestry of lies and promises. It spoke of power, of vengeance against those who had wronged me. The darkness threatened to consume me once more. Just as I was about to succumb, A voice boomed through the chamber, echoing off the stone walls. "Release her, foul entity. You have no claim on this vessel." An elderly woman, her face etched with wisdom and a glint of steely resolve in her eyes, stood at the doorway. She was the head archivist, a woman rumored to possess an uncanny knowledge of the city's hidden history. The entity recoiled from her gaze, the green light emanating from the figurine flickering erratically. The whispers grew frantic, laced with a desperate fear. With a flick of her wrist, the archivist unleashed a wave of energy, a blinding white light that engulfed the chamber. The figurine shattered into a million pieces, the whispers dissolving into a final, ear-splitting shriek. As the light subsided, I collapsed onto the floor, utterly drained. Sarah rushed to my side, relief flooding her face. The entity was gone, its hold on me broken. The archivist approached, her gaze lingering on me for a moment. "The darkness may be banished," she said, her voice low and powerful. "But its mark remains. You will need to be vigilant, Amelia. The whispers may return, but you are stronger now." The following weeks were a period of healing. Sarah continued her research, uncovering a connection between the Jade pendant and a long-forgotten cult that worshipped serpent deities. The figurine in the archives, she discovered, was a powerful conduit used by the cult leader to channel the entity's power. While the immediate threat was gone, the experience left an indelible mark on me. The whisper still echoed faintly in the recesses of my mind, a constant reminder of the darkness I had faced. But I was no longer afraid. I knew now that fear was the entity's weapon, and I wouldn't give it an inch. Sarah and I returned to the antique shop, determined to confront Mr. Crowley. But to our surprise, the shop was deserted, the windows boarded shut. A handwritten note on the door simply read, "Gone seeking new treasures." The mystery surrounding Mr. Crowley and his role in the possession remained unsolved, a loose thread in a disturbing tapestry. But for now, I was content with the knowledge that the entity was gone, at least for a while. The jade pendant remained in pieces, a chilling reminder of the ordeal. I knew I could never truly destroy it, for the darkness it housed seemed an unwelcome part of the city's history. Instead, I decided to donate the pieces to the archives, a cautionary tale for those who dared delve into the shadows. The whispers may have faded, but the memory of the possession, and the strength I found within myself, would forever remain.